What's up, my Gemini people? Welcome to your 2024 Astrology and Energy Report. I say that because we're mixing the energies of astrology and the intuitive awareness that I bring to the table. And we're going to see exactly what this means for things that you're going to be experiencing overall for the year. Okay, if you would like a reading from me, go ahead and go to the description box below. And also, if you resonate with this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. So, Gemini, this year for you, the focus is going to be, you're going to go through a major shift in your life for sure, probably somewhere around March, April, May timeframe. And this is going to be unexpected. You could go into a completely new direction in your life. Give an example. The last time I had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in my 12th house was back in 2010 when I was in the military. I was deployed to Iraq, and I realized that I didn't want to be in the military anymore. I want to go be a civilian and, learn about human consciousness. And, now look, 13 years later, here I am. For you, especially with all the changes going on in the world, with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in your 12th house, there's some kind of karmic debt that is either being paid or being cleared. Depends on where you're at in this lifetime with your karma. Now, karma is not inherently good or bad. It's simply a mirror. So whatever lessons that you're learning is going to be coming up for you to see. So this year could go either way with the other aspects I'm going to go into as well. It could be, you could see it as really like rising to the top, so to speak, or it could be just complete flatline and reset, if you will, to come into a new area of life that maybe you didn't expect, or maybe at first you didn't think you wanted, but then with all the lessons that you're learning, come to find out you actually do have one of these things. You just didn't want to let go to the old. A lot of prying your hands off of attachments, off of things that you wanted things to look a certain way. There's a lot of attachment clearing here. Now it's going to entirely depend on what you want to do with that attachment, whether you want to hold on with control or if you want to let go and surrender. The 12th house is all about hitting the blind spots in our consciousness and the unconscious part of our consciousness, and letting go of the need to know, to figure things out. This could be like a little bit confusing with your identity. Like suddenly your identity was attached to this idea, this purpose, this goal. Now this goal is no longer feasible. And now your identity is having a hard time understanding, well, who am I with respect or in regards to the world at large, right? Now, you're also going to have some pretty significant aspects going on here in the 8th house with Pluto on the cusp of your 8th and 9th house. The 8th house and the 12th house are both very, very intense houses. They're the psychic houses, the intuitive houses. They're also the houses of like death and rebirth, and even like, self-imposed imprisonment. So with Pluto, and Pluto rules the 8th house, right? So with Pluto is going to be conjuncting all the personal planets. That means Virgo, Mars, and Venus. But it's actually going to conjunct Venus twice. Venus twice in the 8th house. This could be power struggles with the people that you're in business with. This could be issues with the IRS or loans and like other people's money collaborations. This could be confusion or very, very, depending, again, I'm just feeling really strong attachments to belief systems, attachments to ways of things are being, attachment to a lifestyle that now has to change. And it doesn't feel like it's optimal, but there's something that you have to learn going through that process to shift. It's going to be a very deeply ingrained, like purifying process. The 8th house is also about death, like legitimate death, usually death of other people. But through that death of someone else, it could be that you die inside and, you go through the grieving process, and that grieving process brings you closer to a new understanding of death in itself, right? Like this is really a lot of this energy here is about gaining a new perspective on your relationship to life and death. At the very core of your being, what does it mean to be alive? It's going to activate lots of humility, lots of gratitude, right? When you finally face the fear of death or the feeling of the fear of death, that is when you are literally liberated from all of fears, right? Because we all fear death. And right now, I would say that the greatest fear of a human being is the fear of death, because it's the unknown, right? We don't know where we're going or what's going to happen. But once you transcend that fear, that's when literally anything and everything is possible. And with Venus there, it's about how you receive. It's about, so like, say you live with someone, right? And you both share the bills. Well, this can be where suddenly someone that's been carrying the load for the bills now suddenly can't. So now you have to take up half of it. Or, there's a shift in a dynamic that's going to require complete responsibility from you. And this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is also going to bring in these unexpected situations that are going to require you to step in to full responsibility in your life in a new way and in a new direction. Now, with the North Node conjunct Chiron too, you're going to be meeting this year. You're going to be connecting with a lot of new people, and it's going to feel fated, right? But this connection could also, you could be connecting based on your collective wound with Chiron there, right? So, this is where you have to be careful not to get caught up in the conditioning or the brainwashing of the world right now. Like, perfect example, Lily, right now is when, like, the conflict that's happening in Israel, right? So, look, we all deserve to be free of all that trauma and war and stuff like that. But people that are now suddenly standing with Israel or standing with Palestine, neither of those is the answer. All right, because more fighting begets more fighting. An eye for an eye is competition. That's lower vibration shit, right? The key is love. Now, you might be asking, well, how the hell do you love in a situation like that? It's about focusing on the co-creation. How do you get with other people and do your part to help people see the higher vibrational version of how can we all come together and relieve these differences? How can I go to this person that's been brainwashed and share, like, get things in a situation that is safe, of course, and then start to help and support each other in these different ways. And trying to figure that out cerebrally, like a lot of Geminis like to do, is not going to work. You got to feel it from the heart. Because the heart will guide you and help you navigate these tumultuous waters. So again, this could be you really stepping into a more prominent role in the world, or it could be your entire world being shaken down and broken down if you have some karmic stuff that you need to learn. So we also have Neptune and Saturn in the 10th house. So with Neptune going to 29 degrees and sitting there for 5 months, this is being deeply, deeply intuitively guided and drawn to your soul's path. Your soul is speaking to you louder than it probably ever has in your life, but your left brain, your Geminis, your left brain likes to always be chatting, right? So it may be a bit of a challenge for you to learn how to integrate the intuitive flow with the chatter. There's a certain, each of you is going to have to identify your own way to do that, but there is a way. Just know that the more resistance, the more you fight it, the more difficult it's going to be. Okay, now with the nodes going on here, the eclipse is happening. It's going to be between your 5th and 11th house. So this is where the eclipses are going to be bringing you into new situations with people. Then, of course, there could be power struggles with the energy of the 8th house going on. So you really have to be comfortable in your relationship to your own wounds, to your own trauma. Because everyone around you is going to be reflecting your trauma back to you. Okay. Now, with the South nodes coming here in the 5th house, this could be maybe having a child this year, or you may be really, as you clear out these power struggles and dynamics, as you're meeting these new people, it could be birthing some new creative ideas in your consciousness. Or you could decide that you want to be free and just be independent and get out there and just learn how to mingle with all these new kind of people. That they're the right person to be around you when you feel light, you feel happy, you feel peaceful, you want to talk about creating stuff and doing stuff. It's the lower vibrational version of that is when you're around people and everybody's bitching and arguing, and you find yourself starting to get in the conversation of arguing and bitching and judging and gossiping, and you want to stay away from that at all costs. Okay, especially with Neptune at 29 degrees, it's very easy to get sucked in to the delusions, like group delusions, stuff like that, with this being in your life purpose. So you get with a couple people, you want to create a new business, and then suddenly something happens in the world, and then everybody has a personal opinion upon it, and it's a competitive nature, and then suddenly like you're doing stuff to divide as opposed to unite. And that could be a danger. But with Saturn there as well, Saturn is the ruler of karma. So this is where, like, if you're doing anything to hurt other people, it's going to come back and smack you in the face so hard. Look, I got a little mosquito right there. Yeah. And he's still going. Wow. This is where karma is going to be coming around checking on you. Like, you're going to have about a 6-month period where, when Saturn goes retrograde, I think in May or June of the year, that's when whatever you did from January to May or June, that's when now the repercussions are going to come back and teach you. Okay. So just be ready to learn some of these lessons, and really look at the deepest part of your shadows. And then also Jupiter is going to be coming into your first house here at 21 degrees of Gemini. That is going to be a significant experience for you. We're going to see that happening about May, June as well. Okay, so once Jupiter comes out of the 12th house of the first house, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, finally, so maybe you met some new people, you got some ideas, then Jupiter comes in the first house, like, bam, all right, now I'm integrating this, I'm infusing it into my personality. I'm infusing it into who I am. Okay, and as you're infusing these energies into who you are, they're now go from the unconscious to the conscious, and now you're learning how to bring it out into the world. Now, it may not fully manifest or stabilize itself in your identity until 2025, but that's okay. We're just focusing on 2024 for now. Okay, so a lot of new people, a lot of new creative ideas. You could have a lot of psychic abilities heightened as well. Just watch out for any kind of financial issues or power plays in regards to finances, because anything that has to do with other people's money or finances or abundance in itself is there to teach you a level of humility and a new way to approach money in itself, okay, in a more co-creative way. So I hope that helps. And if you resonated with this, please like, share, and subscribe. Get a reading from me, description box below. Other than that, I will see you on the next video. Aho.